Let's talk about Ironjawz lists after this recent Battle Scroll update. But first, of course, thanks to all my patrons, Wiberian and Baron of Dice. Wow. So if you saw my Cruel Boys list video, I had like a center. I had like a thing where that all the lists kind of start with, you know, like a core, and that's just not the case with Ironjawz. Ironjawz are in a very different place. The Cruel Boys are in a very good spot right now, and Ironjawz are just not in a very good spot. So how many lists do I have here? I think I have 6 very different lists. So let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Okay, great, awesome. I'm gonna move this over here. Camera left. Boom. Okay, so first of all, the first list that I have is what I call, it's like my standard list. So the standard list is like this. If you told me that I had to play just like regular old Ironjawz tomorrow, this is what I would be playing. So it's a Mega Boss with the armor of Gork or Mork. Gork? Probably Gork. That just gives like a 6-up ward, right? We're just trying to keep them safe. And then it's 3 reinforced units of Brutes. Brutes are only 10 points more expensive now than Ardboys for like a standard set. So Brutes are significantly... I think that Brutes are basically... I don't think you take Ardboys in regular lists anymore. I really don't think that you do. I think that you're basically taking Brutes. And then the second drop... It's only 2 drops. The second drop that we have is 3 Gore Gruntas with a Gouger and a Hacking Crew. So these kind of play out like this. We are taking Brute Fist. I am taking Restless Energy and Master the Pass. We're just trying to be really aggressive. We're also taking an Eye for the fight, and then we're gonna probably end up taking we'll probably end up taking Fasten. I didn't put it here, but we'll probably end up taking Fasten on the Hacking Crew, just because of how good the interaction with, like, if you can Mighty Destroyers on your turn, Fasten on your turn, move on your turn, and then you can, like, you can just get the Hacking Crew where he needs to be with Fasten. So I think that's kind of just like the standard choice if you're not playing a Tusk boss. So this is what it ends up looking like on the table, right? On the table, what we end up with is like we have 3 sort of fronts of Brutes, and then we have a unit of pigs that goes with each one. That's not the right model. We wanted a Weird Knob Shaman. So the Weird Knob Shaman is able to get his extra casts off, right? Because he's going to be hanging out with units of Brutes, especially early on. We're obviously taking the Manifestations of Gorkamorka. So what we can try to do right away is try to cast the Gorkrora, and then we can try to teleport a unit of Brutes somewhere on the table, so that they can really just choke up the objectives, right, and just make it really, really difficult. And then we have these 3 different units of pigs, right? Like we have the Hacking Crew, whose job is to get into their back line and be annoying. We have the Gore Gruntas, whose job is going to be more like a screen and a pin, giving our Brutes time to get into position. And then the Weird Knob and the Mega Boss, right? The Mega Boss is there because we're taking Brute Fist, right? So it's basically just Brute spam, and every unit of Brutes has a pig that can sort of help it out. Oof. What did I eat? Had some tacos earlier. Not sitting well. But I don't think that this is particularly like it's not super strong, this list, I feel. It's kind of just relying on the fact that Brutes are cheap, and we're going to just have a lot of them. Brutes definitely punch and definitely hurt. You know, it's 30 wounds on a 3-up save. So, like, it's definitely going to do something here, right? So, but again, it's like a Hacking Crew, Gouger, it's little pigs. I don't know. It'll do. To be honest, I had a really hard time coming up with lists for Ironjawz, just like regular everyday old Ironjawz. So let's talk about the next list here. So the next list is going to rely on Braggit's Bottle-Snatchaz. So Braggit's Bottle-Snatchaz is a regiment of renown. That is this says a squig, or this is a squig boss, but it is a rabble-rouser, which gives like one. Is it just, how many is it? I always forget. Sorry, I have it here on my thing. So Braggit's Bottle-Snatchaz is a rabble-rouser, Gobblepalooza, squig herd, and a hopper. So it's like 20-ish models of squigs. Rabble-rouser, which is a caster. And they all null deploy, and then they all pop out together. And then the rabble-rouser has an ability where he... it's right here. Pick a visible friendly monster. So it's once per turn, right, in your movement phase. But you pick a visible monster or beast. So this is going to be... we'll talk about the rest of the list, but keep that in mind. It's not for the herd, because it just says friendly monster or beast. And the target can charge, even if it ran, but it must end the move closer. So it gives monsters run and charge. And they pop out somewhere on the battlefield altogether. Anywhere on the battlefield, wholly outside of 9 of your opponent. So it does work. It can definitely do work. So if we want to look at the rest of the list, right? So you keep that in mind. We have Kragnos, a Gouger and Hacken crew, and then 2 Tusk bosses. One with the Amberbone Whetstone and Biggin, so that's giving Ren to the monster and to the boss. So it's like you have one Tusk boss that's really, really punchy, that's there to like kill whatever, thing needs a killing. And then you also have a Tusk boss with Mega Bossy, which is giving that additional +1 to, or it's +1 to, is it +1 to charge? I always forget because it's either, I think it's reroll. I'm pretty sure it's reroll, but I want to make sure. Nope, just one. So we're just like securing extra. We're just securing extra charge bonuses just to make sure that everything actually gets in. So we are 4 drops. We're 4 drops with 4 big pigs, and then this little unit with Kragnos, right? So if we actually want to look at what the list looks like on the table, right? We have Kragnos, and then we have 4 big pigs with 2 of them being a Tusk boss. And then remember, all 5 of these things, everything here can get run and then a 3d6 charge. Everything here can get a run and a 3d6 charge. So if we're putting it on the table, right, we end up with like just a whole bunch of monsters. And then these guys are going to just like pop out somewhere on the battlefield, right? The rabble-rouse is kind of going to be like whatever in the back. The Gobblepalooza is going to be somewhere kind of in the back as well. And then we're just using the hoppers and the herd to screen, right? We're just going to be annoying and in the way. And then the way that it works too, right? Like if I'm going to do this Tusk boss, I made a video about this a long time ago. I think I'll make another one. But it's like this is 37.7 inches. So if I want to move, let's say that I want to auto run him. So he's going to go 16 inches, right? So that was 37.7, right? So he doesn't have to go necessarily, he has to go closer, right? But I did get closer here, right? Does that make sense? It was 37 and now it's 32. I did get closer. And then when I charging's the hardest part, but it's like I did still get closer to the rabble-rouser here, right? Like, people think that you have to like go towards him, but you don't. If I have like, let's say that I just put a quick circle around the rabble-rouser, I'll make a video about this all by itself because I think that it's important. I think the rabble-rouser actually probably has some play right now, just because Ironjawz are kind of hurting. But the idea here, right, is that you just have so much. You have so much distance that you can cover, right? Like if you wanted to, you could do Fasten on something in addition, right? Like, so it's like with Fasten, it's like you're Mighty Destroying 3, you're moving 10, you're moving 10 again, and then you're charging 3d6, right? It's like you're moving 33 inches on average with the 10-inch charge. It's a huge amount of distance. So you're just gonna like throw, you can even like throw just some garbage in the way, right? Like your rabble-rouser and all this stuff can kind of just like run out and be annoying, right? Yeah, and then just yeah, throw some pigs at it. So, because I mean, what we're doing here is we're playing as few Ironjawz units in Ironjawz as possible, right? That's what we're doing. It's like, what's the best thing in Ironjawz right now? Well, it's the pigs. So we're gonna play Kragnos and Regiment of Renown for almost half of the list, or for about half of the list, and then the rest of the list is going to be, yeah, it's more than half of the list, right? Because the rabble-rouser Regiment of Renown is just under 500 points, and then Kragnos is 580, so it's like over 1,070 points of our list is not Ironjawz, and then we're just taking the things that are the best, right? That's kind of how this works. You can also trade a Tusk Boss to be another Gouger, and then you can make this list a 2-drop list, right? So instead of it being a Tusk Boss, you have another Gouger, and then all of this fits in the same regiment, because Kragnos can take 1 Tusk Boss, and then you have a Hack and Crew and 2 Gougers, and then that's 1 drop, and then that's 2 drops. So this can be a 2-drop list if you're feeling super aggressive, but if you're not going to do that, then it's like then you don't want to be a 3-drop list. So then you go Kragnos, Tusk Boss, and then the Regiment of Renown for a 4-drop list, right? So you can build this as a 2-drop list. And then, like I said, you can do Biggin or Fasten. It depends on, like, I feel like Fasten might be a little bit overkill because we do have Run and Charge and we do have 3d6 charge, so it might be overkill. But it also might not. It depends on how you want to play. You can just be like super fast. You can be a Fasten 2-drop, just alpha rar list if you want. It's like, I'm going first every time, wah, and then you just smash everything in, right? Like, you can definitely do that playstyle. Yep, you can definitely do that playstyle. When it comes to the battle formation of this list, I really don't know. Because you could take Brute Fist for the extra Mighty Destroyers on a 3-up, right? You don't have a Mega Boss, but you can still just take Brute Fist. You could take the Grunta Stampede for extra movement as you kill things. You could do an Iron Fist if you wanted to as well. This is less underwhelming because this doesn't really affect companion weapons. And you can also do the Ironjawz Brawl, where you get +1 attacks if you roll 8 or more on unmodified charge rolls, which Kragnos' 3d6 does not count as modified, but those things also don't affect companions, so there's not really one to me that really stands out. You know, you don't really need the movement speed from Stampede because you got so much already. You know, extra attacks on the orcs doesn't, like, it's not super interesting. Same thing with Iron Fist. Iron Fist might be the best one to take because like, I don't know, Kragnos doesn't have companion weapons, so I don't know, none are particularly good, right? None are particularly good, so you can kind of just take whatever you want. I don't know, let me know what you think. Which battle formation do you think would go best in a list like this? Leave me some comments down below. Okay, the next list is, I still think, the list that's the best for Cruel Boys right now. This is a Krazogg's Stampede. So the list did change a little bit. So we are running a Tusk Boss with Boom Skull, and then we're running a bunch of Gruntas. So the way that this list changed is because the Gore Gruntas went down in price. You can see that we're running 5 units of Gruntas, like overall, instead of running 6 units of Gruntas. And instead, what we were able to do is we're able to fit in another Big Pig instead. So I think that the Gougers are really good because of their Strike Last mechanics. So in a list now, we're actually able to run 1 extra Big Pig instead. So this army, I think, is probably still the best way to play Ironjawz right now. And you can still, if you want to, trade out like a Gouger for a unit of Little Pigs, but this is kind of how I've been thinking about this army right now. You have a unit of Gore Gruntas that's going to like be utility and sit in the back, hold back objectives, and zone out, right? And then you have like your Tusk Boss with the Boom Skull, which is going to sit in the middle of the table. And then on each side you have 2 big pigs that are going to sort of go behind a unit of little pigs, right? So it's like all of these guys are going to sort of go in together, right? And then these guys are going to follow up on the flanks with a Tusk Boss, and then his sort of rear guard to kind of keep him in the center, because you need that Boom Skull to go off over and over and over again to make sure that you're getting lots and lots of value. So I like this list as it is like this. I think that the extra big pig, I think, is good. It just means I need another big pig because I have enough little pigs, but I'm short 1 big pig. So I gotta print me off another big pig. So yeah, because I think I own 1 GW big pig, and then I have 4 3D printed big pigs, because I don't want to pay that much money for this many pigs, and neither do you. I believe I have 2 units of Gorgruntas from GW, and then the rest of them, so 4 more units, are all 3D printed. They look great. I really like it. I'm so happy that I don't live in a place where you have to have GW models, right? But yeah, like, this list is still solid. It's still super fun, right? It's just a lot of meat on the table, and the addition of 1 more big pig, I think, is good. Oops. So, so that is that. Moving on to the next list. So this is a version of the list that Christian Robson was running at Northern Wastes. I did play this with a friend of mine, and I had a great time. I thought it was super fun. I thought it was relatively strong. It was super difficult to play for me, just because I'm not used to playing lists like this. It's super elite, and it's super monster oriented, super monster heavy. And it looks like this. So it's Kragnos with... Okay. So it's Kragnos, a Gouger, a Maw Crusher. Oh, wait, that's not the right... Yes, no, sorry. It's Kragnos. It's Kragnos, a Gordrak, a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, a Gouger. So it's running like these four monsters, and then it's essentially running 5 units of Rekkas, right? Some of these units are reinforced. I guess just one of them is reinforced, but it's like, I mean, here it is on the screen here. But you should check out the interview. If a list like this interests you, you should definitely check out the interview that I did with Christian, because he is a super good player and was very insightful on how he was running and playing this list. But essentially what you're doing is you just have like Rekkas, because they can run and charge, right? So they can like run in 3d6 charge. And then, this model is just awful in TTS. I don't know what it is, but it's like, there's something about it that just doesn't sit very, very nicely. I don't know what it is. I gotta maybe find another one. But you're essentially running like 4 big dudes, which are all big and scary, and then you're just running some chaff. These guys are 90 points each. They can run and charge, and they have a 5-up ward, right? So that's kind of the idea. The Maw Crusher has Fasten, the Amberbone, Whetstone, and Hulking Brute. So he is smashing, right? I think that you definitely take Fasten on him instead of like Biggin or whatever. And the battle formation we're taking is Iron Fist. We're trying to kill something, and then we're trying to have something fight next that is able to, you know, get +1 to hit, even if it doesn't affect companion weapons. You could also do Brute Fist, and on a 3-up have a second Mighty Destroyers. That seems fine too. But that's kind of what Christian was doing. So there are some variations that you can do. Instead of taking just like a ton of Rekkas, you could take 1 unit of Gorgruntas and 3 units of Rekkas, so changing up the utility a little bit. You could also do 2 units of Gruntas and 1 unit of Rekkas. So that will change how the list looks and plays, but I'm kind of thinking that the 5 units is the way to go, just so that you can, you know, be in more places at once. You know, trying to just increase the number of units that you have to both zone out things like deep strikes and teleports, and also just like cap objectives and stuff, right? So the more actual units that you can put on the table, I think is good. Just being able to screen out a side to buy you a turn, and just standing on objectives, things like this, right? So if you do like Gruntas and 3 Rekkas, you have 4 units, right? 2 Gruntas and 1 Rekkas is 3 units, but 5 Rekkas, right, obviously is 5 units. So this list is fun. I've played it before. It definitely takes some getting used to. If you are going to play this list, what you have to do is power through, you just power through every turn you're powering through, right? So you have to just kind of keep that in mind. But it's quite good. Like, I liked it. It was fun to play, and I'll definitely play it again. I have all the models for it, so yeah. Wah. Okay, so next list. We got 2 more to cover. Yeah, we got 2 more to cover. So the next one is using a regiment of renown called the Shiny Steelers. So here it is right here. What the regiment of renown is a snarl boss with a Wolfgit retinue, 2 times 3 snarl fang or snarl pack cavalry units, and then a unit of Sun Steelawheelers, which recently just got a buff. So they come together in a unit of 2. So what this, what their sort of mechanic is, there, I'll just go like this. Okay, so they null deploy, right? So they get deployed in reserve. Pick all units, right? And then put them prowling around. And then you just get to put them anywhere on the battlefield outside of 9. So that's what they do. All that they do is they just null deploy and deep strike. The Snarl Pack Cavalry have strike first on the charge. The the Snarl Boss gives like, is it +1 or +2? I think it's +2. Yeah, add 2 to charge rolls for friendly Get Mob cavalry units while they're wholly within 12 of this unit. So right away, it's like we're teleporting outside of 9, but we're getting +2 to charge, right? Just as, and it's an aura, right? It's not like pick a unit. So we could theoretically put all of these units within range, because the Get Mob cavalry includes, well, you could do it with all of these things, I guess. The Wolfgit retinue, the whatchamacallit, the Wheelers are War Machine, not cavalry. Yeah, they're War Machine, so they can't do it, but we can do it with the other ones, right? With like the cavalry and the Wolfgit retinue, so we can give them a bonus to charge. Okay, so that's kind of what the regiment is. So let's look at the rest of the list. So of course we're back to playing Kragnos because the army isn't doing super great, right? Like, Ironjawz aren't doing super great, so we're gonna play as little as the army as we can. As awful as it sounds, I hate it, but it's just kind of the truth, right? I don't know, man. Like, playing pure Ironjawz right now doesn't feel super great, right? So I don't really know how you feel about it, but I'm finding more success playing like Kragnos, right? Because again, it's just like we're just not, like it is what it is. So we're playing Kragnos. We're playing 2 reinforced unit of brutes because they're just so good. We're playing a Scourge of Gairan Rekkas unit, a reinforced unit. So we're just because again, the Scourge of Gairan Rekkas are good, right? They smash. And then we're playing this this retinue here, or this army of renown, or this regiment of renown. So we're at 2,000 points exactly with this list. So you can do a brute fist if you'd like, or you can do an Ironjawz brawl, which is the one that gives you +1 attacks if you roll 8 or more on the charge. This is actually decent with the brutes. If you can roll 8 or above, which is likely to happen, getting 10 extra attacks for a unit of brutes is significant. It's significant. Even getting 6 extra attacks with like Rekkas is quite good. So like the time when the Ironjawz brawl battle formation is at its best is when you're playing infantry. Okay, so what does this list actually look like, and how does it actually play? Well, so we're gonna deploy like our stuff in the back. Obviously, like the brutes are gonna be doing their thing, right? The Rekkas are going to be looking for like an infantry brick. We're very anti-infantry. All of our like elite infantry are anti-infantry. So we are going to chew up whatever infantry stuff they have. Kragnos can deal with any big threats a little bit later on. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to deploy these things into our opponent's face. What we're going to do with the cavalry, because they have, it's only one of them has strike first on the charge, I believe. Let's just double check, make sure we're not wrong. Because if we're wrong, people will let me know, but I'd rather be right. Yeah, it's like once per turn army any combat phase, so they do have strike first. They have no rend, like, they suck without the rend, right? Without any rend, but, you know, 9 attacks, 4s and 3s, no rend, but 2 damage. So if you pick your targets, right, like if you pick some screens or whatever, or even if they just die, right? But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take the Snarlfang Cavalry and a Snarl Boss, and we're going to put them and deep strike them in such a way that either both together, because if it's our turn, we get strike first. This unit doesn't get strike first, but we do get to like fight next, if that makes sense. So we strike first, and then because it's our turn, now that all the strike firsts are done, it's our activation again. So we can take 6 Snarlpack Cavalry and just ram them into our opponent. We can do that. And then because we have 3 health, maybe we will be able to like pull one unit back with a power through, right? And so we're just trying to choke up the board. We're just trying to choke up the board and give time for our slow army to like kind of march up the table, right? So this is one way that we're just slowing things down. Another way that we're slowing things down is just by dropping stuff in the way. So we can just take this Wolfgit retinue and we can just plop it 9 inches away on the flank, right? If your opponent has some fast cavalry, it's like we're just buying some space. So we can just march things slowly up the table. We're just buying space. And then the Sunsteel Awilas, which I think is definitely a huge glow up that these guys got. So the Sunsteel Awilas have an ability that is called, actually just have a look at it here, which is called Careening Destruction. It says, and we've talked about this a little bit on the channel before, but we're going to look at it again. So it says, this unit can move a distance up to its move characteristic. It can pass through other models and the combat ranges of enemy units, but it cannot end that move in combat, so it can fly move, right? So in your movement phase, it can fly move. Then pick one enemy infantry or cavalry unit that this unit passed across during that move to be the target. Inflict D3 mortal wounds on the target. Add 1 to the amount of mortal damage inflicted for each model in this unit. So it's a D3 plus 2. And it's a good D3. Oops, that's my soup timer. It's a good D3. So it's with 2 Sunsteel Awilas, it's a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 mortal wounds, which is not bad. And it has the keyword move, so it can't move and do this ability. I think I made a mistake in a previous video about that. So, but it can. So it essentially does this instead of moving. So on your turn, it like fly moves and runs over people kind of like hoppers to deal a minimum of 3 mortal wounds, which is pretty cool. But more importantly, the glow up that it got is now it's any movement phase. So what you can do with the Sunsteel Awilas is this. You can, with their big old bases, you can drop them in front of your opponent, and then when your opponent and then they just sit there, right? Can they do this after they come in? They can, right? Because it's an ability. Oh, it has the keyword move. So I don't think. Let me know if they can do this. I don't think they can. I think if you deep strike them in, they can't use this ability because it has the move keyword, right? Anyway, but that's irrelevant because what you do is you drop this in 9 inches away from your opponent. So let's say that your opponent is playing whatever. Let's just say that your opponent is playing some of these pigs or whatever, right? Okay, so you drop them in front of your opponent. And then they're 9 inches away, right? We'll drop them 9 inches away. And then it's your opponent's turn, so they're going to move up, and they're going to move out outside of 3. But before they charge, they get to use this ability. So what we're going to do is we're going to move 3.1 inches this way. We're going to touch them. We're going to go 3 inches back, so that's 6 inches. And then we're going to move 6 inches back this way, making this a 9-inch charge for our opponent. So we can do that and add some mortal wounds onto these guys. So if this was against these pigs, right? Pigs are pretty tanky. So it would be 3, 4, 5 mortal wounds. Goodbye a pig, right? But there's going to be lots of units that we're going to be able to kill more of them, so that is an option. Or if we want, we can just move 12 inches back. Right? We can just move 12 inches away, and all of a sudden it's an impossible charge. We can just move outside of 12 inches. We don't even have to move 12 inches back. Right? It's a 3-inch charge, and so we're going to move 9.1 inches away. So it's like, can't get me. Right? And then on our turn, we're going to rinse and repeat. We're going to move them forward. Maybe we'll tag them if we can, right? Touch them and then, yeah, because we can move into the combat range. So we can touch them and tag them if we want to, right? And then they're kind of stuck. Like, because we can now move in the opponent's movement phase, these guys are incredibly good, like, speed bumps. They're incredibly good speed bumps. So the fact that we now have, like, a little tiny speed bump over here, the Wolfgit can also, like, deploy in the back if we want him to and just, like, zone out our backline, which is, like, a reasonable use for him, right? We can also, like, deploy our Snarl Pack Cavalry within range of Kragnos, right? Like, Kragnos can move up the table, and then, you know, we can deep strike these guys within his range, so that they're getting, you know, +2, so they're 9 inches away, so it's a 7-inch charge on 3d6, right? Like, this can also be a pretty significant sort of roadblock for our opponents. So between, like, this kind of package and this kind of package, right, with Kragnos, like, we're buying a lot of space here for the brutes to kind of go and stand on circles and just, even if they just stand there, it's like, are you really going to try to take objectives away from brutes? So we're going to be able to control the primary, and we're going to be up in our opponent's faces. So if we wanted to, like, try to take the center with the Tune to Gairan, which I don't recommend, we could, you know, we can, like, there's actually some play here, I think, just because the Sunsteel Wheela's got such a big glow up here. So, I don't know, worth checking out, I think. Sunsteel Wheelas might be the way that Gits aren't terrible anymore. And if Gits aren't terrible anymore because of this good unit that's going to be super annoying to deal with, then why can't Ironjawz take advantage of it too? Yep, so Ironjawz Brawl probably, and then there's no enhancements because we have no units that can take enhancements, but it's not a big deal. In Ironjawz, if you don't take enhancements, it's not a big deal. Okay, last but not least, the very last list that I'd like to talk about is, of course, Zoggrok's Anvil Smashes. So Ardboys went down, so this is when you play Ardboys. So the list is Zoggrok and his little pal. Zoggrok and pal for 160 points here. And then it's essentially going to be 6 units of Ardboys. And they're going to travel in little packs. It is, if I remember correctly, 2 Ardboy bosses. 2 Ardboy bosses. And then 2 War Chanters and a Mega Boss. This list is 6 heroes. It's 6 heroes and it's 5 drops. The Ardboy boss has back to it, which is just like extra rallies. Let's just see. Zoggrok, Ironmongers, show battle traits, artifacts of power, and back to it. Let's see. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Ardboys or Brutes, wholly within 12. Make 3 additional rally rolls. And then, of course, the Ardboy boss also gives additional rally rolls. Right? 3 additional rally rolls. And then so it's like you're making 12 rally rolls. It's lots of rally rolls. Right? It's lots of rally rolls. So that's pretty cool. And then what else is in the list? A Mega Boss with the Wallopa. So what this thing does is it subtract 1 from save rolls, and then you ignore positive modifiers to save rolls. So it's like you just take away all out defense and any other bonuses to save, and then it prevents them from getting any kind of like all out attack or all out defense, right? And then he also can bring in a unit of Scourge of Gairan Rekkas to fight. So, like, into an infantry unit, it's quite scary, right? Because the Rekkas are getting +1 attacks, so now they're on 7 dice each. So 21 dice. No, 7 times 6 is not 21, it's 42. So it's 42 rend 2 attacks, right, against infantry, with the inability for your opponent to make any saves. or to like use all out defense or any buffs to their save. So it's a lot. So it's really there to like punch like a reinforced unit of infantry. And then we're doing double war chanters. We're doing double war chanters for the prayer. This is something that I'm still like kind of experimenting with. Aaron Newbaum sort of was making a case for it, but it's this. We're not playing manifestation, but it's this prayer here. It's you pick a piece of terrain that's wholly within 12 of the war chanter, and then every time your opponent starts or ends a move, which includes moves, runs, charges, and pile-ins. Yeah, on a 2-up, it's a 2-up D3 mortals. When they start or move anywhere within 6 of the piece of terrain. So you're just throwing mortal wounds onto your opponent, and if you can pick 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of terrain that are doing this, it's going to be a lot of mortal wounds on your opponent as they're moving up the table. And then the Ardboys, because we have 2 Ardboy bosses, the Ardboys are going to be able to like shield bash a lot, right? And then Zoggrok obviously giving mortal wounds to stuff, or crit mortals to stuff, is like adding even more mortals into the list. So it's just a ton of Ardboys that all, as long as the Ardboys are, I think it's within combat range or wholly within 12, I can't remember. Oops, that's my soup timer again. But as long as they're within range of another Ardboy unit, which is why we have 6 that are all kind of going together, then they are able to have a 5-up ward. So the Ardboy boss, that's too big of an aura, I feel. It's supposed to be 12 inches, not 18 inches. Right? 18 inches is not correct. It's supposed to be 12. Right? Yeah, 12 inches. So we're just going to like chip away at them with mortal wounds all game long. Is how this is going to work out, right? We're going to try to position our Ardboys in such a way that, you know, they're getting the extra shield bash, right? So, again, we're just going to, like, chip away at them all game long with mortal wounds. And it's going to be really annoying to deal with. And the Ardboys are all going to have 5-up wards, right? And it's just a lot of meat on the table. And then we also have some more punch going on in the back. Right, so if something does kind of start chewing through our units, then it's like, you know, we can send in the Rekkas. And these are Scourge-a-Guy ran Rekkas. They can't run in charge. But the army's very, very slow. Right, the army's very, very slow. So this is one version of the of this list. But I think that the thing that really that you really want to lean into with Ironmongers is just how many, or that these Ardboys are just getting a 5-up board. Right? So it's like, this is so much meat to chew through, right? Each unit is, so there's 10 of them at 2 health each, so it's 20 on 3-up save and a 5-up ward, right? And then just tons of rallying, so you can just like pull something out of combat and get like 3 or 4 models back. Like it's like, you'll get 3 models back on average with a rally roll, right? And that's on a 3-up, 5-up. So... And then, yeah, just like lots of shield bash mortals, and the terrain is mortals, and Zoggrok is handing out crit mortals, and, right, you're just going to chew through everything, but you're going to have a really hard time scoring. You're going to have a hard time scoring. But, I don't know, like, it's fun. Like, it's fun, right? I don't know, dude. If you're going to play Ironjawz, you better be having fun, right? Because you're probably not winning a ton of your games. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can also change a War Chanter to a Weird Knob. The spell is a 3d6 charge, and you can also take the Gork Aurora. So you can, it's an unlimited spell. So with the Gork Aurora, you can kind of give 2 units a 3d6 charge pretty consistently, right? Because you can just cast it twice, which is kind of nice because then the Ardboys have to stick together. So it's like a little bit easier to do that. But I think if you're going to play this, you just lean into the War Chanters making the terrain shake because it's fun. Right? It's just different. It's fun. So yeah, those are 6 different Ironjawz lists. I think the best one I think is going to be Krazogg's Stampede. I think that just playing all pigs is certainly the best way to play. I think the second best one is going to be the shiny Steelas, because I think that the Sun Steela Wheelas are going to be much better and super annoying right now, and they're going to let you move up the table. I don't think you have to play Kragnos. You could also play some of the big pigs, but I just think that throwing in the Snarl Pack Cavalry is really strong and really good. So, and if I had to pick a third one, I'd probably pick just the monsters, like Kragnos and Gorodrak. It's just fun. It's just fun. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What's like a regular Ironjawz list that you're running? Join the Discord. We have 1,000 people in the Discord, and it's such a great community. Come join the fun. Like, subscribe. Wow.